Gotta go on up there and you take the right on 60. And then, oh, hey there, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, babies. Welcome to another Joe Show podcast. We did one with Ernest. That came out real good. Justin always been a friend of ours, you know. We gonna have to bleep a few things out. He's so silly. Yes, he is. That's Justin. He always been funny though. He always been a friend of mine. But you know, we got another East Coast guest this afternoon. Oh, let me get my notes now. Take your reading glasses, Joe. I don't need them. Got another East Coast guest. Well, let me see my questions for you. This is a person. When I first came to XTV, when I first came to XTV, they was pitting us against each other. East Coast do Sonic, we do Donkey Kong, and they was trying to figure out, who better, and you know, I never got wrapped up into that. You know, we all both was very, very, good in our own right, and he always had such an energy to him, you know, and I always loved him and respected him for it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Yaki Najao. How you say your? How you say your? How you say that?
I was going with you all the way up till you got to my name there.
I don't know that. I done butchered that up. He sure did.
Freaking bombed it, guys. It's well, my real name's actually Terry, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, Terry Yaki. I officially got my name changed.
Like the food.
Sure. I officially got my name changed back in when I went over in Japan back in 2005. And there was a stint where Yaki wasn't really popping up throughout the years, and I spent plenty of time.
And around what time would you say? Because you always just seem to always be here.
Sure, guys. Well, there will be small seasons where I would just take up my private jet and just go on off, even as early as 2002, Miss Mary. I'm sure remember we talked the other day.
Yes.
Okay, so it was
he's
really
so
fine
nice
meeting you guys. So my name was officially turned to Terry Yaki, but my in-ring name is Yaki Najigi. Come on, guys. And so there's to answer your question there.
And let me just say, like as I keep saying, I know I keep putting this cross, but your energy is something else. It's something else. Because you see, back then, now that these podcasts come out, you start to see who is who. You see the real D-Mac, the real Pain, whoever. But you were really like that. It ain't no cutoff switches. Is what Niecy said. No chill. No chill with you.
Well, sure, guys. I mean, because at the time, you got to remember that, this is like probably around 1991 when I'm, first making my appearance in XTV. And you have
that question out, Joe. That was the question we had. What year did you start? Take that off.
Yeah. I got my start right there in 1991. And, Cohen Sandra presented AVW with his first Sega Genesis, guys. And so, upon that, everybody knows that, XTV has always been completely enamored with, wrestling. But this was like one of the first things that, really got us since, Super Mario. And finally in our own home, guys, we didn't have to, go over, to grandma's and, have some video game entertainment. Here for the first time, we're able to sit in our own homes and, play something brand new that's never happened before. We've done Mario, we've done wrestling, but here's this high energy very fast paced thing that nobody's ever seen before, and it's user friendly and we're into it. And so as a character, how do you match that?
Yes, that's it.
How do you match that? And so that's the reason I had to go out balls to the walls, guys, and just really be able to match that energy.
First bleep of the day. Be quiet, me.
You can't say to the walls, guys.
You can't. Supposed to be completely clean, but you know what? I've been listening to some of the old Joe Show podcast. We cuss a little bit on there too. It's not as excessive as as our contemporary.
Well, guys, I mean, the way it is nowadays, guys, everybody's trying to clean up. I mean, for God's sakes, I even just not cut off 20 pounds, just to get back in ring shape. They're calling me back, and I wanted to retire. This year.
Cut that off too, Joe.
Well, it's just a thing, and I don't mean to, go on and ramble on, but it's just a thing that. I really wanted to retire this year, and just out of necessity, HTV, has to kind of bring me back to be a part of that main roster. As sort of like a filler. You guys could sort of look at me as Mr. Perfect in 2002, but by no means am I trying to have a long program with someone. I mean, me and 80s guy, we agreed to maybe like an Iron Man sort of deal or something like that, and that'll probably be something in Mania or something. But as far as the mainstream, Yaki always in the main picture. I mean, you can look over my career year after year, and just see, the high caliber, not just, athletes that I've fought up against, but the high caliber, programs that I've had. I mean, you name it. Bob Classic. There was the one with Monster. I mean, just so many guys that I can't even think of off the mind. But I mean, lots of good content, and I think I like my body of work.
You have a tremendous body of work, and one thing I wanted to touch on. One of my first questions is why you never really crossed over with other East Coast members during that time in the 90s, because when you look at it, you had Spot the Doggy. He did joint shows with Romy Rome at Booty Monkey at the time, and you had people doing joint things, but when I look at it back then, it never was a Sonic and Abu type of crossover or something like that. Why you never crossed over back then?
I think that the reason behind that is because I mean, there was always this progression in XTV.
Yes.
During my time when I first came out, that's what it was, and it was the thing, and so to this day, XTV has always been about variety and being able to produce various different types of content. And to be able to do that, you have to first establish things and establish guys as, hey, this is must see stuff. This is, a must see guy. He's the real deal. And so by the time Romy Rome came around, I had already established myself as a thing. So, to answer your question, I mean, it just wasn't an idea that, the powers that be thought was something that needed to be
done. Did it ever cross your mind that maybe I should go and do something with him?
Because it did not, because again, that wasn't the mentality of guys, during that time period. I mean, it was like, here's my show, this is my thing, and this is my job, and I was pretty much all in with that, guys. I mean, Tails and Knuckles and Dr. Robotnik, these guys were very much a part of the show as well. It wasn't just me, guys. And that's one of the things that I think is very slept on, is the fact that it's not just per se Donkey Kong Didi, but you guys, Old Joe and all the supporting cast. Those guys are very important, and those guys don't really get mentioned much.
Yeah, and that's a shame. But you know what's happening now? You see Starboy out there. He getting his success. And I know you proud.
Yeah,
because y'all both came up together. You know what I look at it as? Some people say you kind of taking the back seat and you letting Starboy do his thing. It's kind of the similar thing what they say with the Hardy Boy. What they say, how right now Matt is in the center and Jeff is taking to the back. That's kind of how it is with you two, because y'all both came in together. Well, not together, but because Tails came later on part 2. But that's how they looking at the situation. That Starboy has continued to be very successful.
He's very successful, and what I kind of boil that down to, guys, is the fact that it's the fans' choice. Okay, because the fans could have completely went out there and shit on Starboy.
Don't.
Excuse me,
No,
guys.
no, Jesus.
Excuse me, guys.
We try. Sorry. We gonna edit that out.
When you were doing the cornhole intro, I was thinking when you were talking about Ernest, and I'm sitting up there smiling to myself like, Yaki, please don't go and cuss. But yeah, so there's two. I didn't even know that you couldn't say the other word that I said earlier. But where was I? I apologize.
You were saying you thought that people was gonna S on Starboy.
Well, I mean, because Big Trunks, he's a big deal over there. My all-time favorite, guys. I mean, don't even let me get started on that. But
get on my D nerves.
He's changed over the years. But he's still Big Trunks, the one that we all know and love. The thing about it is, Starboy, he was chosen by the Coen fans. And I remember back in 1994 when we first got him, and he would come in with the whole propeller deal and flying over, and I couldn't stand him. Then it's just like you just have that magic with someone, and Starboy was one of those guys.
The propeller deal. You go edit that out. The deal.
Yeah, he came, and they just felt that he would just be a good addition to the program. And so they brought in Starboy. But, even back then, guys, you knew that, there was potential for something. And it's just been an all-time thing, all-time fact in XTV that, everybody can't be a top star, guys. And that's just the deal, in any situation. You look at the movies, everybody can't be, the main guy. Everybody's got to play their role. And Starboy's played his role for a long time. And it's because of the fans
and that's what
that he's where he is.
And I'm sorry, Yaki, but that's what I was trying to say there. I got so much flack. That's what I was trying to say with the whole D-Matic and Payne thing. I said at that time in 2012, that's Payne's time. He doing his thing. D-Matic can't be at the top, you know what I mean? Because Payne is. And, they thought I was trying to pit them against each other. No. Sometimes this person going to have his time and that person going to have his time. It all come back though. That's all I'm saying. Right now, not saying both of them ain't hot, or nothing like that. But, they not really doing anything. They both kind of taking a back seat.
Who, Big Trunks?
Yeah, Big Trunks and Payne.
Well, that's because Big Trunks, you look over at what he's doing with his son, and he's gearing him up, and that guy's going to be a star.
Yeah, that too.
He's going to be a star. So, Big Trunks is always doing something, guys. He gets a whole lot of flack, but, in my eyes, and I know that I'm corn biased because I think he's the greatest, but it's just because of the fact that he's always doing something, guys. He's always out there, and, in my eyes, he is the main voice there. Whether you agree with him or not, he is the main voice. And what he's doing with his son, I mean, even J&W Boss, you can't make somebody write something, guys. And, if you go back and look at the East meets West event where J&W's, interacting, with everything that's happening. And in that match in particular, he mentions Little Trunks and, he mentions, how good of a match that is. To me, that means that Little Trunks is over. And that's because of, Big Trunks D-Matic giving him that spot, giving him that corn rub, guys. Everything that Big Trunks does is smart because, and I don't mean to go on a Big Trunks tangent, but, talk about somebody who knows psychology, guys. Because if Big Trunks wasn't a master of psychology, then the tag wouldn't be over, guys. Corn period.
Oh yeah, and it's way over. Trunks,
it's his deal.
But I always said this: Trunks is that voice. He can talk. He can talk you. Even going back. I'm gonna try not to laugh. Even going back though, and watching that XTV Sports Center, he's selling that show. He's selling that, talking about something. It's gonna be a first round knockout. Payne gonna be completely obliterated or whatever he say. He's saying all this different stuff. We already know what happened. He got a mouth, but Payne, he got that action. He can give it to you now.
Well, nobody's gonna argue that, guys. guys. His name's the Pain. He was tremendous in 2005 during the Day of Reckoning era. I think that's really stepped into the mainstream eyes again and was like, okay, guys, this guy's a guy to be taken serious. But Big Trunk's D-Matic, he's Dusty Rhodes. Okay, he's going to talk you into the building. And he might not be the most phenomenal worker. He's not in the greatest shape, but he's gonna put on a show, guys. And that's what the people came to see. Cohen Terry Williams. That's what he's trying to do with the NXT show. Now he's got that from Miss Martha. He's trying to make it more XTV. And so in-ring action, that's great, but everybody's got in-ring action. When you're talking about a universe mode, everybody can put on great matches, guys, but everybody can't do they can't go that extra mile creatively that you go to make your thing a unique product, and that's what it's all about. So Big Chunk's is a master at that.
And times has changed. Is that your phone?
I think so, guys. It's back there somewhere.
And times has changed as well. People used to think that you had to have the whole package. They used to think you had to have the mic skills, you had to be an athlete. Now it's just, if you good at one of them, you can be set for something, because you got the NXTV thing. We doing our creative stuff, the little animation, Everybody fits somewhere now instead of having to have the whole thing, which is why right now is a great time to be alive and be an XTV fan and star, because you can connect with your audience a lot better, with the technology. Mary is still, I'm not privy to it. I'm not privy to how these new modern things go on, but the fact that we was sitting there with Snoop Dogg the other day, I say, that's Snoop, look at him, look at Snoop. That just show you this is a new world, baby.
It is a new world, guys. It's just like, what they used to do in the movies back then. You're talking to a guy on the screen and then, it pops off. They had those ideas. It seems so far-fetched, and now, we do it now and we take it for granted. But, that's the world we live in. You're right, Miss Mary, man. It's just like I was telling you the other day, off the air. You're the future. Okay.
He told me that. He say I'm the future.
And people scratch their head at that, and they're like, she's in her later years or whatever. But that don't matter, guys. You look at somebody like Sister Loretta, and she's phenomenal, and she wasn't really doing so well years ago health wise. She was slowing down, but lately, she's on the ad program. Complete turnaround.
And I gotta say, we say it all the time on the Joe Show podcast. It's the grace of God. It's the grace of God. That's what we run this whole thing by. A lot of people on this, we ain't saying no names. We ain't making no diss or nothing. But a lot of these people, they be angry, they be mad, then they come and record and talk about their problems. You can't do that. You gotta let God solve that. You gotta let the joy shine through with this, and that's why we try to give out good vibes. It's too much negative going on. Let that happen out there. But what we gonna do around here, in these parts, we gonna provide y'all some great content.
Amen to that.
Now a question I wanted to ask. Oh, you had something. Yeah, I had something. I always want to ask about, how did you react to your son's success? Because usually when a star has a child, the child goes in their father's footsteps, and he's not that successful. However, you are the exception to that rule. Your son was very successful. I would like you to talk about how did you feel at saying that, and your relationship with your son, LT.
Surprised. Yes.
Yeah.
Surprised. Yeah. Seriously, at that time when
I think I should put this down.
Sure.
Yeah, let me put that down
here. Yes. Yeah. Forget about that. You get tons of emails. Here, let me. Could you grab that for me, guys? Shut it on called mute. I want to shut it on.
Where it's at? Where it be?
It should be up under those things, because it's going to keep doing that. And Junior, you could. I think it's under that bag. You mean under this bag? Which bag you
Under that Adidas back there.
Watch out, Junior. Let me get
Nah, cause I would have got it. I ain't know where it was.
It's alright, Junior. I got it.
Okay. And then
Put it on mute is what you.
yeah, that's they're saying things and that's so freaking distracting. But where were we? Oh, Tavari. Yeah, I was very quite surprised about that. And even at the time, as it was just continuing to be such a good thing, and this is way before the Pee Wee Herman deal. Okay, even before it became a big deal, I was still skeptical. Like, okay, well, maybe he had a couple good episodes. Okay, maybe he had 3 good episodes, and then it got to a point where I was thinking that while this is happening, I'm going, no, this gets good. He's for real. And I was very shocked, and I was, but I also knew, I was like, at the time, they're not going to accept him because he's just a kid, and because he's my kid. They're going to say, as different as he is, as good as he is, they're going to like him, and they liked him at first, but it took him years to get to where he is now. He's a top guy now,
and I gotta say,
beyond a shadow of a doubt.
I'm sorry, Yaki, but I gotta say that. I've always respected LT more than Killer, obviously. For obvious reasons. Even though LT, he had his disrespectful ways, it wasn't never to a point where it would affect family. Want to do?
We can continue, guys.
You know what I mean? And I mean, as we've mentioned before, he hurt Mary May, and other different people. But LT never did that. He never went too over, the boundaries. But go ahead.
Sure. There was a time period where LT, really didn't care, and that was his gimmick, to be as ruthless as possible. And I go back to him stabbing Romy Rome and keeping him in the cage. That was a real dark period for him. But to your point, I think he has kept his devilish ways somewhat minimal. Okay. And what it all boils down to, guys, is how these guys turned out. And you look at it, and sure, Killer's in jail, but I mean, he's successful. Come on, guys, he's in jail and he's successful. And that's why he acts the way he acts, guys. Because you got to remember, these guys are very young. Him and Yosi and the whole bunch. Even Ada. I mean, I think she's in in her 30s. I mean, they're kids, guys. And they got a long way to go. So they're gonna make a whole lot of these mistakes that they're making out here, and they're gonna react, like young people would react, and to me, those guys are the backbone of this place. You go back to that East meets West, I think that's a real big tell-all. And you look at Tavari and Wells' placement in that thing, and you could have put those two guys up against any tag team on that roster. They didn't even put them up against XTV guys. They put them against WWE guys. The WWE guys weren't even doing nothing. They just played against the AI. Javier's out there blowing the damn horn. Wells is just given so much personality. Another guy, J&W spelled his name wrong, but he mentioned Wells. And it's if a complete stranger is watching your program, and he's never seen it before, and immediately off the first episode he's becoming acclimated with your stars. Your stars are over, guys.
Oh yeah. And Wells is way over. That boy just crazy. He goes.
He's just booked himself in the next main event for East meets West, him versus Howard. Now that's the next main event. That's where you go next.
I had to ask you something else too. I sure forgot.
Well, I tend to sometimes go off on a corn tangent because I get so excited about this. I'm always down there in the XTV Corn Performance Center, training the guys. And
this new bulk of guys that we have now is, a phenomenal talent. West Coast guys included, guys. I see big things for Danny. They're keeping him special. Cassie Cage is coming up, guys. And I compare those two to each other because, Cassie Cage, God bless her heart, she started to get very frustrated over the last year or so because, she thought that, they were never going to bring her up. And now she's finally getting that call. She's going to be on the program coming up in the next few weeks real soon. And we're excited about that. She looks good in the ring. The West Coast guys approved her, and, we're just moving forward with this thing, guys. That's what it's all about.
Now, I asked about y'all relationship, you and LT. I mean, because we never see y'all together or interacting for that matter. Sure. How are you guys' relationship? Is it very private?
It is, guys.
And how is it?
It's very private, and it's very strong. We have a very strong bond, guys. It was at a point where just for XTV, we would just sort of kind of argue with each other, but we reached a point where we just realized, hey, we're better than that, and we can do better, and let's just we don't have to expose our relationship for the people, but we can show that hey, there is love there is respect there, guys. And I love his family. I'm grandpa, guys, and if you guys have noticed, that I did sort of settle down, and I just wanted to be teriyaki, guys. I just wanted to be teriyaki because I'm into my family life so much more now. It's to my point at the. It goes back to my point that I was making at the beginning of the program is that, I wanted to retire, guys. I just wanted to retire and be grandpa and, train the kids down there, the PC, and, just be that guy, and tell my story. Because I think that a whole lot of people will find a whole lot of things that I've done very fascinating, especially during my time, over in Japan. Being a part of that tournament lifestyle. I think Shadow probably touched on it a bit on his podcast, but it was just a thing. It was something that AVW just made up probably around 2007. It's just this concept of every freaking fighter in the world, whether in real life you might come across Kimbo Slice or you might come across freaking Ryu from Street Fighter, and that's why you saw that picture with Sub-Zero versus Shadow, because it was just as random as that may sound. It would be that random. You're walking down the street, and you see Sub-Zero, and it's automatically you hear the damn voice and it's fight, and these just huge elaborate fights that are taking place in this city, and you see people, they're dying in the streets, and it's this ongoing tournament, and I got pretty far in it, but I ejected myself out because I didn't want to freaking get killed.
I can't find them tater skins. We doing a podcast and I can't find them tater skins. Look under the doggone frame.
I'm sorry about that, y'all.
Well, the demand of potato skins is, really high, and that around these corn days.
I don't know what his problem is. He always come in here, always asking me where the pork rind, where the potato skins. Get the hell out of here. They at your own house when you get one.
Go and shoot.
I was scared.
Yeah, I was too, guys.
Now, my next question is, look, Yaki, like I said, like I opened it up, I love and I respect you. We both do. But, that there's just certain connections that I just don't really understand. And Mary May had to sit me down because when it was first announced, we want Yaki on our show. I said, I already made it. I said, if we do the Joe Show podcast, certain things just ain't going to be allowed. I ain't going to have 90 on here. I'm not going to have Wells. And I darn sure ain't going to have Killer. and they ain't gonna have nobody affiliated with him. However, Yaki, I don't understand how a strong young man like yourself is affiliated with such trash. Tell us about your relationship with Killer.
My relationship with Killer probably started around 2008, and as they say in XTV, guys, it was a wait. Okay, that's basically just my little pun there for the Killer. But the whole thing about it is, at the time I saw how everybody, despised Killer. And that was pretty much the overall take on the Killer from the East Coast. That everybody really hated him, and he had heat. And I didn't kind of think that was fair, guys. And he treated people like that. He treated people on the East Coast like, yeah, I know you hate me, guys, but I don't care, and eat it basically. And I understood that, and I decided that I wasn't going to treat him like that. That I would deal with him fairly. I would give him the chance to double cross me, guys. And you know what? He would take his jabs, and I would laugh at it because I did find humor in it because that was Killer being him, and I didn't see anything wrong with that. And so, we just were friendly with each other, guys. And then we got the offer to do the show with Fox, and we became like a little tandem there on TV. They liked our dynamic. We were all from different worlds, so they liked that. And the rest is history, guys. I mean, the ATV show was phenomenal. For its little run that it did. It wasn't one of the more longer running TV shows in XTV, but it was definitely something that everybody got into, guys, not for a lack thereof.
So, are y'all close still?
I talk to him, every now and again. I haven't, been down to see him, ever since he's been locked up. We haven't really communicated that well.
I just remember how it was around that time. You bring up a weight, ain't nobody like him. He just was so rude and disrespectful. Then he tried to clean it up by saying I'm a face, but do very disrespectful things.
He's a natural born heel.
He spit in his Martha face. How you do that?
He's a natural born heel, guys, and I understand it. To me, it's his character. It's who he is. It's who he was made to be, guys. And that's
is he like that in real life?
Yes, guys, that's how he is.
To you?
Well, I mean, he's a river. He's a he definitely likes to bend things and twist things. Definitely. But that doesn't make him a bad guy. That just I just think that he's an interesting fella.
Sorry. Oh wow, we getting to him now.
I mean, I'm like that, guys. I'm like that. I mean, I'm into like parkour and things like that, and I've got a very different and abstract.
And I see because I done listened to the New Millennium podcast. He jumped through a river and it sound cartoony, but
he's real. Also into that, and I understand. Mill was not expecting that. I wasn't expecting that. I mean, there's no way that you can expect a freaking shark or whatever it was to damn freaking attack you. But I mean, I live for things like that.
Which is insane, Yaki. All right, let's just call a spade a spade. If Killer is a natural born here, you naturally born crazy.
Well, I mean, maybe I'm a little off, but I think I like to refer to myself as eccentric. I mean, I'm into very abstract and very wild things, and I'm a fast-paced, fun guy, and it goes back to being able to match that character on TV, guys. So that's who that guy would be. I mean, if you're Sonic the Hedgehog, then like everything's just all go all the time. You have an all go mentality. And it's like a never die mentality, guys. It's just straight go, and that's how I live my life. I'm very upbeat. I'm very fast paced. And I just love people.
Lives for the rush. You gotta love a person like that.
Sure,
And,
guys.
and what's crazy is it ain't no drugs fueling it. You just naturally born.
No,
I love to go crazy.
sure, guys.
Now our next question. This may be the biggest. He had a lot to say about you on a few podcasts. Monster, Corey
Sure.
Jordan. Go into this whole thing from when the feud first started. We're gonna have both perspectives lined up. You know, from when y'all feud first started to when y'all became, are y'all friends or not? But go ahead.
Uh, really, guys. I mean, I've had so many back and forth with Monster, who's probably my freaking greatest feud of all time. He's probably my greatest rival. I think that it's gotten to that point where if you think back on my career, you definitely think about Yaki and Monster, and to be honest, probably I want to say maybe '06 guys.
'06.
Do you think it goes back further than
I
that?
thought it was '09. Oh, but go ahead. If it's '06, just tell us from your perspective.
Maybe it's I'm just saying it must have been '06. It couldn't. I know it couldn't have been '05 because that was the Day of Reckoning there, and it wasn't a thing then just yet. I don't think. Oh no, wait. Okay, well, yeah, yeah. Nah, I feel, and I know what you're talking about. You're referring to that XTV Mania when we fought up against each other, and maybe that might have been the first time we fought in the ring, but maybe it wasn't because there were plenty of times that we didn't where we didn't record things. So but yeah, I mean, I'm getting up in the old age, so I can't remember when things first happened quite, guys, but I do remember. Just the back and forth, and it was I think that I think that the first thing that made us start jousting at each other was the fact that he was always saying Frank, and the fact that I was always saying Jeff, and he would always go and freaking pick on me because I'm saying Jeff Hardy, and we would call each other going gay and things like that. Yeah, so and that was, I think that was pretty much the premise of us going back and forth, was just like us both just being complete hypocrites and calling each other exactly what we were, guys. I think that's what that
And
was.
and your relationship is it better now?
Oh, I mean, it's all in fun, guys. I think that we've both just grown up and matured. I think.
And I'm sorry, Yaki, but what made me realize that is a recording from last year when the unfortunate passing of Frank Rivers happened, and there you were hugging Monster, and
Sure.
to me that brought a piece to it. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, not only that, but I mean, it's just, over time, I mean, how long you're going to fight over the same old things. And, we've both moved on in our careers. I mean, he's the freaking commissioner of XTV West Side, guys. So, that says a whole lot that those guys would deem him as the commissioner, he is a big part of XTV. He is one of those main guys. I'd put him right up there with Big Chunks. But I mean, yeah, I mean, me and the Monster, I was just thinking about the match the other day.
Roach coming towards you.
I was thinking about the other day when the Monster, did he just freaking jump?
Oh, like he vanished, look like.
It looks like he vanished, guys.
We got some roots going on in here.
He freaking vanished. I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to sound freaking crazy, but freaking right before our eyes, guys. What the heck happened?
I don't. Well, what was you saying?
I don't know, guys. That freaked me out. Yeah, Monster, greatest rival of all time, guys, definitely. And yeah, we're good now, though. I think we're good. I don't talk to him every day or nothing like that. We're not besties, but we're good.
Now, I want to talk about something that we rarely hear about. I forgot to put this on the list. But the NBA, you did that, the basketball. And
Yeah.
you used to get into it with, what is it? Welch! That used to tickle me, Welch!
Yeah. Well, everybody had their respective teams, and I think that there was one point in time where they had like everybody on one team, and Walter and A-Man and Tavari Howard and all these different guys were all on one team, and then they had the idea again, trying to make variety, trying to make every team matter, and spread out everybody the best way they possibly could, and they had Wells over there playing for Detroit, and they put me with who they put me with? Boston.
Nah,
I was
they
with the
put
Celtics.
you with the Bucks.
Oh, I was with the Bucks. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, see, there you go. I was with Milwaukee then, a team I guess that nobody really cared about. Let's be honest, and that's who they put me with. And I think that I was the only guy there to represent that team. And the whole gimmick for me, or the whole idea, was for me to get my team over. And make us a must-see team. I mean, you could argue that probably the Killer and LT had the most exciting teams.
Oh yeah, I remember them getting into countless games.
Back and forth.
Yeah, but Killer got on my nerves. He quit in the middle of the thing. Oh, I can't stand this place. Getting all mad, cutting off in the middle of the game. I swear, I wish I was there to whoop his ass. You ain't supposed to cut, Joe.
It was a very, it was an intense time. You're talking about the era of the athletes, guys. And this was a very competitive time period. Not only on the game, but we did basketball. We had the ATV. We had boxing. They were doing everything, competitive wise, and everybody was at the top of their game. And it was serious, guys. It was that serious. So yeah. I could see that. Him, cutting off the game and all.
I really enjoy you, Yaki. I just like to listen to your stories and everything. Now,
I like being here, guys. This is great. I love to come by more often.
how was the Hall of Fame for you? Because at this point, it's 2009, and at this point, you've done so much throughout your career. How was it standing on that stage, and being in the presence of, I think, D-Matic and Payne were Hall of Famers that night. How was that?
It was a very fulfilling moment, guys. Being in that room, and it is something to be honored by your peers. And to look around and to to know that you're deemed that great, and for heaven's sake, I mean that's been over 10 years ago now. That I was put in the Hall of Fame, guys, and to think. So and I'm still going, guys. I mean that's what I'm saying. I started in '91. They won't let me retire, guys.
Yeah, the fans,
free Yaki, guys.
The fans went in. The same thing with him. He wanted to retire too. But the fans want y'all for whatever reason. I know what it is though. Like I said, it's y'all energy y'all give across. Nobody else do that.
And that's what I'm saying about
Danny
this.
Bryan came back too.
Yeah, they just brought him back, and he's probably gonna do something big in Mania. Good for him, and I'm happy for them, and for that. They're probably doing that because they don't want him to leave, because he's gonna probably go and wrestle anyways. I mean, it's not that he couldn't wrestle; he just couldn't wrestle in WWE. So suddenly his doctors have cleared him. Good for him. Good for the fans. That's what they want. Him wrestling. So I think it's good. But what were you saying, guys? I had a senior citizen moment, guys.
I did too.
Yeah.
I did, because Mary gonna bring up Danny Bryan. What he had to do with anything. We both older now. Sorry about how this come out.
Sorry, guys.
I guess we can move on. What keeps you positive, Yaki?
Excuse me, guys. That was water going down later. Like, hey, don't forget me, guys. But Life, guys. And looking forward to just good things. Just certain things, guys. Just, this. Justin's podcast. XTV. The future, guys. New things. You know, experience. Exploring things, seeing things that you haven't seen yet. Those things that keeps me positive. It keeps me excited and motivated about life. You know, it's things like that. Jeff Hardy.
Wow. Be quiet, man. Be quiet. He like Jeff Hardy. It's just the way he said it, though, Joe. What's wrong with the way he said it? He over there talking some Jeff Hardy. And then with this big smile on his face, I ain't saying nothing. Be quiet, man. Ain't saying nothing. Oh, Lord.
You have to see the Ultimate Deletion, guys. I'll just leave it at that.
Now, another question. I might as well hold this.
Just a moment ago, he said he had to just put it down. Now he's going to say he has to just pick it up, guys.
I told you we old now. What was your favorite show, Yaki, that you was a part of?
That's tough. That's super tough.
And I would like you to share some of your memories.
Shoot, guys, that's super tough. That's a really tough one. But maybe my favorite show. I think that my favorite time was probably doing Yaki Heroes, guys.
Wow. Yeah. And that was great seeing you come back like that cause you did the Sonic 05 recording.
I was Shawn Michaels there in the latter years.
You was.
I was Shawn Michaels during that time period, and there were times that I would just be doing it, and I'm like, wow. I mean, this thing is happening again. I really have a second chance, and I got to be honest with you guys. I mean, there's been times, in my career, where if I didn't have a show, I thought that I was, gonna fall off, guys. I thought I was gonna be forgotten. I was gonna fall to the bottom of the list. And, people would stop caring about Yaki, and I would worry about that throughout my career. And,
that's crazy.
I thought that I was washed up, guys, and I thought that I would get washed up if I hadn't been doing things. And so that's why I always tried to stay consistent. I always tried to stay with the show, and I was always trying to figure out a way like, how do I do a show? Or how can I get a show? How can I get myself on a show, and that's why I would do different things. Anytime there was a Sonic, I saw that as an opportunity to do a show. If the game was any good, then I would make that my show to stay relevant. But, Sonic Heroes, that was not an attempt to stay relevant. That was like the real deal. Like, all right, here's, the deal's on the table. This is your show, whether you like it or not. Make it work. One of those kinds of deals. You get those those crappy deals.
And you know what? I'm going to say this. Out of everybody on our show, we done had DT. We done had Ada. We done had Justin. Y'all favorite cuss word is the S word. It's always that one.
It is.
It is. It's always Ada the whole time. S word, S word. DT do it way too much. S like that. S like that.
But yeah, I mean, you do get those deals. I remember LT, he got Rascal, and it was that type of deal, And this was, post this great thing that he's done. He was able to get over on a Sonic game, which was a hand me down for me, mind you. And for people who don't know out there, I had already done Sonic 1, and they're telling, my son, little LT at the time, make this work. This thing that we've already seen, and it's like, well, what's different about it? Well, it doesn't have you on it, and it's like it's the exact same thing. But he did it, and till this day, he's able to throw that spin on things. Did it again. Had another senior citizen guys.
I asked, what was your favorite show and your memories? Any memories that stand out?
Yeah, just the different. Just different times that the West Coast were there, and just cheering me on because that was a real special moment as well, because they weren't there for the first episode. I tried to bring it back in 05. And there were recordings of those, and they liked them so much that those recordings have lasted for years because that's what the show was, guys. When we were in the room and you guys were over there, that's what was going on in there. And those things would get so intense. I would run into Michael Jackson, Sonic, and
Yeah.
and he because that would just be a complete surprise. I would not expect that, and then on the spot, he's just doing Michael Jackson, and it's getting intense, and next thing you know, I'm fighting Dr. Robotnik, and I've never gotten to this level before, and it's just this great elaborate thing. It's always intense once you start to get towards from my own experience, once you get towards the end of the levels, and Dr. Robotnik's freaking last level is like way up in the sky, and you're up in the clouds, and you have to jump off over these different pillars, and the wind's blowing, and the clouds are freaking passing you, and you're like, what have I gotten my freaking self into? You've kind of worked yourself into a shoot, guys, as they say in the business.
One of them doggone things that stick out to me is a coin high, now hush.
And that's another thing that had become famous is my rant.
Because I say you keep it positive, but
Sure.
when your temper calm now,
Exactly.
you feel it.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Well, that's always been a thing. Because and one thing that I talk about Bob Classic with, we always joke, is the cheat codes, because it's like I feel like video games would not be video games if they didn't cheat every now and again. You know that they do, guys. I mean, it's just like
I just put even if it do, I just put it up. I don't sit there and fool with it. Then it's like, oh, if it's gonna act
I'm
like
one of
that.
those rant and raver guys because I mean, here I am. I've gotten this far. I can't just cut the game off. I have to get to the next level. You become addicted, guys. You become addicted. It's an addiction, and you get on there, and you just got to get to that next level because you've gotten this far. And that's what it was for me. I mean, thank God, for Sonic 3 when they allowed me to freaking save up to my save point. And so once I cut the game off, I could come back to where I was. It was not like that on Sonic 1. Once you cut the game off, you started all the way from the beginning. There was no save point until like probably mid 90s, 94, 95.
So you had to sit there for 8 hours or something just to beat a video game.
But the good thing about it was that once you got good at beating level 1, you just zip through it. All the places where you can get extra coins, you can really rack up on extra lives and things like that. There's a whole lot of hidden stuff in the first level because it's so easy, and you can get so many points.
Joe got scared.
And
Get that roach, man. He's scared, child.
He'll teleport on you. But yeah. Those are some of my memories. Of course, the Las Vegas level. You remember what that?
Oh, I remember them. Yes.
Yeah, I really liked the way they redid that, and then we were able to relive that in 3D. That was a real special time, So that's what I'm saying. Having the West Coast guys there to kind of relive that, but this time in 3D.
And everybody all grown up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was huge. And then not only that, but then they had Team Dark. And then they had Little LT, so they had the different teams. Remember that? They had the different 4 teams.
Yeah, Monster was on that as well.
Exactly, guys. So, it was just a real cool deal.
Now, we got 3 more things to go over, Yaki. We've been here for 50 minutes. Do it feel like it?
Absolutely not, guys.
You see that?
We're just getting started.
But the Sega era, duration. How long would you say it lasted? Because, me and Mary May, we bicker before we go to bed every night. I told her the Sega duration did not last long. She said, yes, it did. And I say, no, it didn't. Because for me, it felt like it lasted 91 to like 95. And, just pretty much talk about that. Like, what was the duration of Sega?
Well, to be quite precise, guys, I think that, the Sega duration, when you're talking about a timeline, it would start with, of course, me. I was the first game there, and then um, it lasted all the way up to 1997, guys. To be honest, because
And I was right. Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was definitely up to 1997. It
Look who's sleeping on the couch tonight.
yeah, because that would be the time where AVW had the birthday, and then they were bringing out the new summer season, and everything was going to switch over to from Sega Genesis to PlayStation there. And that's when the first game was Power Move Pro Wrestling. But of course, the kid got the PlayStation and it didn't work on the first day, and he only played one time, and he was real sad. And then
That happened with the GameCube. Superstar crying over that dead reckoning not working.
yeah, but then he lived happily ever after. They went to the pawn shop. Some guy had dropped off a PlayStation that we brought back. It was brand new when the kid got a brand new PlayStation. So God works in corn mysterious ways. Corn gas.
Why did you never do nothing on PlayStation 1 though?
Well, I wasn't a PlayStation guy.
Still though,
it was like at the time there was controversy over the license with Sega and PlayStation, and they weren't doing things together.
oh yeah, that's right.
So I was completely out of the picture, and that's when Roman Rome became the new hotshot, which I was completely fine with, because I was just I accepted the fact that, well, these guys won't make amends, so I'm gonna have to find another way to be relevant. Exactly. Yes.
You giving us so much of it. We full. Is that?
It sounds like come by.
Sure do. Sound just like him.
It does, guys.
I ain't gonna investigate. I'm too tired. Now, Sonic Generations was your last show.
Which one was that one, guys?
That was the one that we did in 2012.
Is that one the one me and LT?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
epic. Now, you was skating on that. You was doing so much. I don't think you ever got to complete it like that, but
no, we didn't. That
this
was
was-
a little short-lived. But you know what? I think I would put that one as number 2, if you know what I mean, because that's just probably not number 2, guys, but very high on the list. Very high on the list. That was because again, it was one of those moments like, man, Yaki, you're doing it again, guys, and the people are loving it. It's fresh. It's got LT in there. He looks exactly how he did then, and I mean, yeah, super fun stuff, guys. Super fun. But another one that was one of my favorites was definitely Sonic 3, guys. And that's why I enjoyed bringing it back in '05, guys.
that was our next question.
Yeah, it definitely was. One of my favorite things to do, guys. Because I had evolved, and you're talking about going through Sonic 1, and then just defeating that, and then going up into Sonic 2, and maybe I had a song or two. I'm not really sure.
What, on the 05 one?
On Sonic 2, guys. On Sonic 2, because doing
The second
songs,
level you had a song.
because now what was those? See, those songs came out later. Have you ever seen Mad at Jeff to the Swan Time?
Do 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 do. There's one way poo for you. One way.
I know I had Doom Bell. I don't do the high.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but I feel like I came out with that one a little bit later. Yeah, I can't remember at the time when all the songs came out, but I do remember the fact that 1995 and doing Sonic 3, I thought that was pretty cool. And then once we beat that, then we had Sonic and Knuckles, and then they had it where you could take Sonic and Knuckles, and I think you could plug in Sonic 3, and you could play both of the games combined. Like the levels were somehow combined. It was just all intertwined and stuff. And that was a pretty cool deal. That was kind of like a offside kind of show. So yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Now Sonic 05, when you came back in 05,
Sure.
this was a lot more cussing. You didn't give a two cahoots.
Yeah.
What, like it was a complete shift to what Sonic was, and I guess this was a new era at that time.
It was a new era, guys. At that time, it was very very new, very fresh, because guys were born again. so to speak. A whole lot of guys had, turned human form in some way, shape, or form. Over on the East Coast, of course, many of us were cartoons. I was Sonic the Hedgehog, um, and that's when I became Yaki, not GU. And I think I drowned in water. I think that that's what happened with me. A lot of people were taking themselves very violently. I knew that hedgehogs couldn't swim, so I just got myself out.
I shot myself in the head. I don't know what none of them talking about.
Yeah, I don't think you were around that time, Mary May, but there was a time in 2005 where everybody made this transition from sides to TXG guys, and we were cartoons. Many of us. Some people weren't. Alec wasn't. People like that, him and James. But I think that they still had to go through some sort of a process because they were like 3D guys. So,
I remember. I remember when this first started. It was we was walking and we just kind of like Soup was just kind of imagining that TXG at that time. He was just thinking of everything. He just thought, why does D? Because how much human they act like, it's like, why aren't they human? You know what I mean? And it just made sense. And the first person to do that was Payne. He had said, look, y'all, I'll never forget. He said, hey there, Tagger. Look at me, Tagger. He picked that pistol up. And we was like, what is you doing? Everybody was shocked. Yeah. This is something y'all don't know. Like Payne did it out of nowhere. He did it out of nowhere. And we was like, we was scared. We was like, what you doing? Because this was the group home area. I wasn't there. And he put it to his head. And we like, no. And it was a big thing. Everybody was scared. And then he died. You know what I mean? And, next thing we know, he was a human.
How long did it take for him to come and be human?
I say a few seconds, and we was all shocked during the process of it. It was like, why did he?
And that's what happened. I mean, we got word over here that had happened, and that had become a trend over on the west side.
Yeah.
The guys were doing that, and so he was like the first one, the first freaking sacrificial lamb, so to speak.
Illuminati confirmed.
But so that became a trend over here. But the only slight difference was that people they were dying in different ways and coming back in human form.
Yeah, because Dyro messed himself up. I don't know how he killed himself, but he still had spikes coming out his back and everything.
Yeah, it was a scientific experiment going on.
He was the only one that was messed up. Everybody just human. He still got spikes coming out his back.
Well, Cohen, God bless them. So as was his career.
Yeah, and then he tried to come back. He still ain't right. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he still got the whole family and everything out the deal, so he'll be all right because he's still quite successful. Him and Tiffany over there.
Well, Yaki, you longer than Gorilla.
Oh wow!
An hour and 3 minutes.
I don't mean to be so freaking long-winded.
Oh, we love it. We need it. On top of that, some of this got to get cut because people done cussed.
Yeah.
They love that S word, Lord. Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. And don't you forget to stop and smell rose on your way today. Yeah.